Many people tell me, maybe you don't seem like a lazy person. My problem is that like, if I don't have clarity, then I'm like, what's the point? Right? And when I have this mindset of like, what's the point? Then that means maybe it's going to take zero action because I'm like, I cannot see how that's going to like more or less turn out, or I can't really see that progression. The challenge for me this year is I'm not as convicted to one particular type of content that I like to create, because I like to share many things, right? I don't want to just talk about job search, because job search is not everything. I don't want to just talk about like how we all hate our bosses, because that's not always the point as well. But I also don't want to only talk about personal branding, because that's just a small part of what makes a successful career. In a way, it kind of feels like there is this, again, you're kind of back to a bit of that personal limitation habit that I talked about earlier, and this is really kind of like the overflow of that. And once I feel like I'm not fully convicted to a particular strategy, then I procrastinate. So I'm a person who is like obsessed on nothing. I think the clarity really, really helps, and I do think that having the realization that I've actually been putting in like personal labels and personal definitions on like what I can do and what I could do in the future has been really stopping me from, I guess, communicating and like conveying the things that I really want to share with you, maybe in a more Mei-Ping's way. And this is something that I am actually doing in my career programs and my mentoring calls with my clients and students, but I feel like it's not really projecting online. And yeah, I mean, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, just drop a comment and let me know, what kind of episodes do you want to hear about? How do you find the videos, I guess? Because I've always felt that I'm a really boring person, but I was talking to some friends and they're like, maybe you're not boring at all. I'm like, really? Because I've always seen myself as a boring person. But anyway, the bad habit of procrastination, for me, at least for me personally, kind of comes from that place of like, not really sure if this is something that I want to go all the way. So this is something that I definitely want to get rid of this year, because I do think that having that step by step, even if I can't see the full picture, but if this is something that, hey, ties in with the mission of me helping 9-to-5 professionals to feel less stuck at work, feel calmer, feel more in control, feel like, they can enjoy work-life balance and still have time with their friends and family while actually able to do their work without feeling too much stress. And I think that's the mission, right? That's the mission. So I guess anything that I do in terms of like content, like events, collabs and everything else, podcasts that aligns with that, I think that is already a motivation. So that's definitely a big mindset shift that I'm taking on for the next year as well. Moving on to the habit that I really want to get rid of before the year end, and that is perfectionism. I have perfectionist habits. I won't say it's very severe, but I definitely do have it. I guess not just like me as a person, but I would say that, over the past 10 years for me working in corporate, I've always been in the auditing, accounting, consulting space, and then banking space. So it's like working with like regulators, and I've worked with some of the top regulators in the US, UK, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And the nature of my work, right, as the former head of governance and control at Standard Chartered Bank, managing regulatory portfolios, working with people from over 40 countries, the challenge with having that kind of role is that I need to be very, very precise and very detailed and very focused on the messaging and the positioning of every single thing that I do every single day. And that actually makes me really good at my job. I won't say be perfect at it, but to be as precise as possible, which is maybe like a different way of like looking at perfectionism. And I think because I've truly mastered that skill, what eventually happened was that it kind of trickled back into my life as well. Your work and life is like a circle. If you're a certain way in your daily life, it's gonna impact how you behave at work. But for me, this is kind of the other way around, in which my work required the high level of precision, particularly in storytelling, positioning, and like reporting and all those things, and presentations, high level presentations. It kind of gradually trickled down into my personal life, and even I would say up to today, I do have a certain level of like wanting things to look good, wanting things to be precise, wanting things to be valuable, and that shows in the career programs that I have, the mentoring calls, the workshops. Like I really want it to go well. There is that level of like perfectionism for sure. This bad habit of perfectionism has gradually led into procrastination, which is the previous bad habit that I talked about. So it's kind of like turning into this circle, but it's not the good circle, because personal limitations plus procrastination plus perfectionism is like not a good, it's not a winning strategy. This trifecta of the personal limitations, procrastination, and perfectionism is definitely, once I decide to move past it, then they all can be resolved at one time. That's why that's something that I definitely want to focus on next year. It's more like, okay, I know I want my things to be high quality. Of course, I want my career program to be high quality. I want my mentoring calls to be great. I want my clients and students to get results, see results, believe in themselves, knowing that they have the power, they can do anything, they can feel in control to manage any career, work, or job search situation. That's what I want. For me, what's really important is kind of like remember back the mission, and the mission is to empower my clients and students who are in 9-to-5 jobs, because I've been there and they can definitely level up as well. Moving on to the bad habit that I want to get rid of this year is people pleasing. I'm a person that I'm very clear on many things, but there is that one thing I find it very hard to do, and that's actually saying no. It's a challenge many people have, and if you people-pleasing tendencies and you feel like you always want to say yes, you cannot say no, definitely drop it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. I really love to hear your experiences as well. In the past, when I was working in corporate, I've kind of like designed a certain structure and system to really manage the clarity of work and saying no. So that actually is going really well. And in fact, some of the clients in my programs actually told me that teaching them how to set boundaries at the workplace has actually helped them a lot. And one of my students even told me that she's actually a part-time yoga teacher, so she really enjoys her 9-to-5 career, but she's also passionate about yoga. So she was telling me the other day that using the lessons in my career program, she was actually able to build in certain boundaries even for her part-time job as a yoga teacher, which is really great. My challenge right now is more like, okay, right, Maping has devised the perfect system and framework to apply boundaries to deal with like I guess people pleasing in the corporate environment. But right now, particularly for me, like for myself, I'm not in a corporate environment. So I'm a career coach, right? I share tips online, I make podcast episodes, I share my thoughts on social media and everything else. And most of the time, I get a lot of messages from people asking for advice and asking for collabs and, just like asking for like a lot of information. Since I started doing career coaching, career mentoring since year 2020, it's been a challenge for me for a very long time because I feel like I want to say yes. But I think that's what I've realized this year is that it's my tendency of being a people pleaser because I feel like I always have to say yes. But I think what kind of like woke me up this year is more like, okay, it's not that I don't want to help people, but I've also gradually observed the people in which I said yes to and actually how they react towards it. And based on my observation, interestingly, sometimes people kind of take your yes for granted, if you get what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I do feel like if we say no, we feel bad. I mean, I think that's just human nature, right? We want to be helpful, we want to be kind, but I probably would challenge you to think about, to also consider like how the other people who are taking your kindness and how they are reacting to it. Because I can tell you that based on my personal experience this year, from all these hundreds of people who are like asking me for collabs and like asking me to give this, give that, do this, do that for them, many of them actually don't come back or like kind of like don't prioritize that. It's just, I guess they are very pushy when they need to be, and when they kind of like got something, or if you're really not going to give it to them or whatever it is, they just go MIA. It kind of gave me this realization of like, oh, okay, if I don't prioritize myself, if I don't prioritize what I focus on, then how can I achieve my mission of like helping more 9-to-5 professionals to grow their careers in the corporate world, right? So if I end up doing everything, I end up saying yes to everything, like how is that helping me build a better program for clients in my career course? How do I make sure that I can build even better refresh content for the lessons in my career course, to share better insights, to train my clients to improve their communication skills, to improve their corporate world career thinking skills and career planning skills? Like all these things are top priorities for me. And if I say yes to everyone else, then what does that leave me? That would leave me tired, that would leave me unfocused, that would leave me really stressed out, really burnt out, and in the end, nobody wins. This doesn't make sense, so like, why am I doing it? That's why I'm sharing with you candidly in this episode, and I hope that you can also keep me accountable, and I hope that, maybe in the next 12 months when we come back to this time of the year again, right, we can share with each other what are some of the bad habits that you have managed to get rid of and you're also in the process of getting rid of. And I also hope giving you a bit of an inspiration to kind of look into what are some of the bad habits that are holding you back and really stopping you from moving forward. Because I know that in our society nowadays, we just want to do. But I've always found it really valuable to just think about what is stopping me. Because if something is stopping me, then like it doesn't matter how fast I go, because I'm carrying this like huge baggage that's holding me back. So I also do believe that there are many things that actually in our head that's even more difficult to overcome. And that's why I want to share candidly, reflect on it, and really using this chance to reset and to actually get rid of the bad habits so that I don't bring them on into the next year and hopefully into my future as well. This podcast episode is that accountability episode, and I hope that I can give you an update over the next year as to how I'm doing. And the next episode, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I personally did to speed up my career so that I can make sure that the next 12 months of hard work that I'm going to put in at my job and my career, is this going to be worth it because I'm applying it strategically. If you enjoy these episodes, then make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow this podcast, and I will see you soon.